Welcome to Purple Easel Spotlight, where we put the spotlight on artists and creatives. My name's Latoya.
And I'm Megan.
And we're both art instructors here at California's largest paint sip studio. Today we're going to be following Doug Leen, aka Ranger Doug. And I just want to say for the record, I know nothing of this person. I went to ChatGPT and I was like, what do you know of Ranger Doug? And ChatGPT was like, I don't know. And I'm like, that's a lie. You know exactly who he is. And then the second poem was, I don't know. I don't have enough information.
Apparently, there's a Ranger Doug who's also a country singer, so that should have at least popped up.
I know.
What the heck,
Yeah. I don't know what that was about. All right. Yes. So you'll have to...
I'm going to learn you.
Okay.
So back in the Great Depression, FDR started the Works Project Administration as part of the New Deal to help get Americans working again. And a large part of this was like roads and bridges and infrastructure. But then there was also the patronage of the arts, and he hired musicians and muralists and things to create public goods and allow them to get paid. So what was born of that was posters.
For real?
Posters.
Oh, wow.
Thousands and thousands and thousands of posters.
Right.
And the most iconic posters are the National Park posters, which I have an affinity for.
Oh.
I love this style of art. In fact, this style is just known as the WPA style from the Works Project admin. And that's crazy to think that like such a little blip in history, I mean, kind of an important blip.
Yeah.
But like it created an entire art style, which you see all the time now.
Yeah.
And I soups love this style because it's really stripped down and every line and color and choice that is made like counts a lot. But because they're posters, and the nature of posters is that they are disposable. You tack it up on your bedroom wall when you've got all your like teen fandom going on, and then it slowly disintegrates, gets destroyed, thrown away, whatever. I mean, just imagine a national park poster.
Yes.
It might be a bulletin board outside somewhere. In fact, they would design them purposely with like blank squares on them so they could put the schedule and change it out. But yeah, they didn't really survive.
That's really all that I know about these sort of posters is that the survival rate was not.
It was really bad. In fact, there are only 12.
Oh.
12. Okay, so 12 designs survived. They have catalog or evidence of 14 of them, but 2 of them only exist in black and white pictures, like they're in a photo.
Okay.
And it's the only like evidence of them we have. Yeah.
That's wild.
Enter our ranger. And Ranger Doug was actually a ranger.
Okay.
Worked at the Grand Teton National Park. And he came across one of these posters, which was in a trash pile when they were having a cleaning day. And he's like, I like this poster. I'm going to keep it. It's kind of torn up, whatever. Kept it around for a few years. And then one day decided, you know what? I'm going to look into this. And I'm going to see if I can recreate it. And like its majesty. Over the course of several years, he taught himself screen printing, and then has accumulated 42 actual posters. And tried to recreate them to the best of his ability, and like reprinted them and stuff. And it was such a like lengthy project, and it's pretty cool. You can see some of his interpretations. Like, for example, he only has the black and white sense of it, right? So he just creates one and guesses on the color.
Oh, wow.
Because he has no idea.
Yeah.
But then later, so because of the work that Ranger Doug and Brian Mobius, his illustrator, were doing, it got the attention of the other national parks. And so the first one that he did that was not a duplicate of an original was the Devil's Tower.
Oh, okay. I was just about to ask you if he had done his own work after duplicating, but
He sure did. I mean, he learned screen printing for something. It wasn't just about conservation. That's a really big part of it. In fact, they even donate a lot of their proceeds back to the national parks, which is cool. But then you kind of run into this weird copyright thing too.
Okay, I can see that.
So he's recreated a lot of these. In fact, he now has the largest collection of original posters, which he's donated once he was done with them. His collection is larger than that of the Library of Congress.
What?
Yes. He has 6. Rolling in the posters. Yeah. So the problem is people think that the posters are all public domain. The original ones are, but the ones that he's created since are not. And so he's run into a lot of issues with people slapping him up on coffee mugs and bags and whatever without permission. Unfortunately, because the work is so good, you can't really tell it apart from the original.
Yes. Oh.
And I think a huge part of why that work is so good is he insists on being historically accurate in the sense that he is still doing old school screen printing.
Okay. Nice.
Now he's got like a 3rd generation printer which does it for him. And it just adds this extra depth that you don't get from a inkjet printer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. You know, okay, so this makes sense because I didn't know where this style came from, but I do see if you go to like NASA's website, they have their own posters, and I love those posters.
Him too.
Okay, this makes sense. Okay, I was like, I have seen this before in other places.
And the style is prolific. Like, it's all over the place now.
Yeah.
It's hard to pin down who the original artists were because the records are in and the posters themselves haven't survived. But you can see on a lot of them, the little seal at the bottom will have initials in it, but it's often the screen printer's initials, not necessarily the person who designed it.
Oh.
So there's a guy, can't remember his name, we'll flash it up. I always have this problem, I guess, who is attributed to most of those original national park posters, but we can't know for sure. And then the same thing now is they're all over the place. You can see a little bit of the process of the screen printing, which I think is really cool. And this was the original poster was "Don't Kill Our Wildlife," and then they modified it.
Okay.
And honestly, to me, there's no relationship between the two.
Yeah, no, they're two very different to me.
Right. But it's really cool to see the process of the layers. And I think it's so cool that they're still doing the screen printing because you get mistakes, you get intricacies that you don't get from just a flat printing and jet kind of thing, which a lot of the current artists use instead.
I see a lot of this type of art and like institutions, like again, NASA or something like political, White House, or like national parks. It's kind of where I see a lot of these types of like posters.
Absolutely. The original WPA did everything. They did medical stuff, educational posters, war propaganda, the works. The national park ones, for whatever reason, are the ones that are kind of the most recognizable. You can see a couple of examples of what he has created that were not copies of the originals. And this one in particular, I just love it.
This is a poster, right?
Yes.
I feel like this would be like obviously it's a poster, but I feel like I would have like a miniature, like a postcard or like a pamphlet. This is giving me like, I think because of all the information that's on the right-hand side, it's giving me like a literature that you would hold in your hand and you'd be like, or you would like hang up somewhere, but it's just small.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's giving me that vibe, but I do like this a lot. It looks like something I would hold.
They did originally do postcard size ones. You get them out there. That's so funny. And then the idea with all the information is this would be put up in your civic center, right? And it's to get people to want to go to their national parks is basically the idea behind them. It's an advertisement. But yeah, the colors, and I love especially about the redwood one is the scale. You have this itty bitty cabin. It just shows you how massive those trees are. It's so cool.
I do like that one.
Such a simple use of scale to really convey the sheer majesty of the redwood forest.
I like this one too. I like it's very like purpley orange, purpley orange, purpley orange.
I've been on a purpley orange thing lately.
Oh yeah?
I notice a lot of the paintings I've been doing are purple and orange.
Interesting.
And Andy's all like, it's going to be brown. I was like, just you wait. If you do it right, it will not be brown. It'll be purple and it'll be orange and it's going to be beautiful.
I believe
Like
you.
this one.
Ooh.
Oh, so here's an example of the monuments. So they did a whole series of monument ones as well.
Also looks like something I would like. I'm coming to New York and I get this little pamphlet. Like, I should be a whole. Welcome to America.
Ellis Island.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely gives those vibes.
Ooh, guys, there's Yellowstone. Nice. Pretty.
So Zion.
Ooh.
Let's take a moment to talk about Zion because it's one of our closer national parks and it was probably the first one I ever went to.
Okay.
And I have props.
Oh, there's a prop.
Several, actually.
Ooh.
So you can get these little booklets.
Mm-hmm.
And this particular booklet, all the art is by Joel Anderson. And he actually paints these like right on a huge canvas.
Uh-huh.
So that's kind of cool. But look at this Zion. And then compare it to Ranger Doug's Zion. And you get kind of the same vibes, although the style itself is a little bit different.
Yeah, and
then, wait, there's more.
There's more.
Straight off my walls. So every time we go to a national park, not only do we get our little book stamped by art, and we get the little challenge coins. So here's some of from Zion. And this is a totally different artist, John Mublenkamp. So you can see that there's a ton of artists who have adopted this style. And
Wow.
it's just we're so used to seeing it.
Yeah.
It's like background noise to us a little bit.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But I feel like I wanted to take a moment and really appreciate where these came from and why they exist, because this was a huge service back in the day.
Mm-hmm. I feel so enlightened for knowing more and to seeing this and talking about this. I had no idea the impact this artist had. I'm just like, wow.
Well, see, the thing about Doug is he's a conservationist at the heart of it. And not just about the national park, so that's part of it, but the artwork. And he really kind of understands that history and goes way out of his way. Dude's a dentist in Alaska, traveling in his little refashioned tugboat from small village to small village doing dental work. And this is kind of his side project.
Wow.
But yeah, just for the love of the art. And he really wants to put that artistry back into it. And that's why he insists on doing the screen printing and everything, just like the old days. And I love it.
ChatGPT knows nothing. And so our next artist is going to be Danny Haas. And enlighten me about Danny.
I'm such a fangirl for Danny. I've been following him for a while.
Okay.
And I think a lot of it is nostalgia. Not going to lie, his subject matter is right up my alley. But it's the same style.
I like
That WPA. But look at this. I mean, dogs, come on. And it totally has those same vibes as the national park posters or other travel posters.
There's a skull.
There is a skull. You've seen the movie, right? Goonies never seen.
Oh, Goonies. Oh, yes. Oh, gotcha.
It's so subtle.
Yes, it sure
I
was.
had to be a real fan to get that one, Toy. I'm so disappointed.
I'm sad.
All right. And then we have some other glorious work by Danny. This one's just kind of a nothing, but it's that stripped down thing again. It really speaks to me. I think my work is very convoluted and I like the simplicity.
Okay.
And then he's got a podcast and he does art for every single podcast I've lived. Art. I can barely get my hair done in the morning. I just love it. I love the colors. I love the shapes are really defined.
Jurassic Park.
And I love one of the best Peter Pan there ever was.
Sure was. Robin Williams.
Yep. So I selected Vertigo because I have a little thing with Vertigo. I like Hitchcock. And this poster is so creepy just because of the colors. If it was any other color combination, I don't think it would read that creepy.
Actually,
And the movie itself, really not that creepy. It's suspenseful, but it's not like, ooh.
it's spooky.
And I love comparing it to the original Vertigo poster, which you can see if you scroll down, because it's so different.
Yeah.
The same. Like, it's still that flat kind of, but so different.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, it's cool.
Danny's is wet. And I say that having owned that exact poster. I found it in a little movie shop that used to exist at downtown Disney.
Yeah.
Right. And then not only did I have that poster, but so did Wilson in House. It was in his office.
Really?
See it in multiple scenes. And I was like, that's my poster.
Wow.
But as posters go, I don't know what happened to it. I don't know where it went. It's a sad thing, but I think that I'll just replace it with Danny's because it just speaks to me.
That's the one thing I hate and love about posters. I love how, like, they're supposed to be disposable, but then, like, but then I don't know what happens to them.
Right.
Like, they kind of disappear somehow. But when I have them, I love them to death.
Yeah.
They're like the best thing on the wall.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I have the poster from Hearst Castle that's like just dominate. It's huge. It's like really big. And I always feel kind of weird about putting holes in it when I move it around and like have to punch a hole. It's ripped through and whatever. So as an adult, I really try to frame my posters. But because of that, I have like this whole roll of Lord of the Rings travel posters that have not been framed. Just like got to get frames for them and then find a place to put them because they have so much art. I love the arts.
Nice.
My house is full of posters, artwork, originals, all the things. And there's no more wall space.
I believe that. So for today's discussion, we have the question, what impact does art have on society? Who wants to go first?
Well, I selected this question based on the content of our WPAs. Obviously, it has left a mark. And I think it's kind of cool to think about the fact that it was born from FDR trying to like slow the bleeding that was happening from the Depression. And it was really a public service that allowed them to exist. And then they furthered a public service in trying to get people to go out to the parks and, you know, get more occupancy and awareness and all that stuff. But really, to me, it's a snapshot in history. And I think we kind of discount that a lot when it comes to art. We look at all these famous artists throughout the centuries and be like, oh, this is an amazing piece. But we don't really take a step back and think, this is what society was like at the time that that person lived. And I think it's really interesting and gives another nuance to artwork when you think of it in that context.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So yeah, I put some thought into
Okay. Well, this is just, I'm just seeing this for the first time. I have a lot to say, kind of, sort of. I feel like I'm going to be all over the place with this. It is pivotal. You need art. Period. Your clothes that you're wearing is art. The way that you put your hair is art. The buildings that we enter is art. The little nuances, like the little decorative things that might be on doorknobs, or like the little decorative things that might be on a building, or sculptures. We need sculptures. Like everything I kind of see that we do is like an art form. Not to say everything, but
it should be.
Well, yeah.
And pride in your craftsmanship.
Yes. And
That's another episode.
Yes. But also I feel like art is and can be a statement, depending on how you're choosing to present yourself. So if you want to present yourself as a person who, like, I don't have any tattoos, and I love tattoos for other people, just not for myself. People show that art and make a statement on their body. There's graffiti art where they're making a statement about the city and the culture, or the culture within the city. And they'll express that on the walls. There's just so much, like, it's literally in our day-to-day lives. We just don't really see it. We kind of take it for granted, I feel like, in a way.
Yeah, it's funny because we were just at the Getty with my 7-year-old recently, and my fiance made a comment, and he's like, just imagine, like, this person is in a museum, and what if this was the throwaway? Like, what if this was their worst art, and we're now staring at it in the wall? Because that's what survived.
Yeah.
And I
didn't think about that.
Yeah. Like, all those posters that didn't survive, like,
That is very
there's a real gem in there that blows all these other ones away. I'm not sure that would be the case because I love these posters, but, like, it's crazy to think about that. It's like what has survived through time is a snapshot, but it's not the whole picture.
And speaking of time, one thing that you can see, one thing I really do like about art and time is just to see how people lived at a certain time, seeing what they wore, seeing what they did. And I mean, obviously they didn't have cell phones, they didn't have pictures before that. They had to paint. That's how we get to painting. And we had to document things. So literally painting was a way of documenting.
Yeah.
So it's just very interesting to see, like, oh, wow. And we've been doing this since, like, way in the Egypt days when we were, like, walking around with the fancy Egyptian jewelry and we're, like, making the pyramids and all that stuff. Like, there was so much art in that time period, too. So it's always just been a part of our society, I think.
Yeah. I saw a great meme, and it was, oh, look at these kids taking pictures of their food all the time. And then it shows, like, a still life. Old school Renaissance painting of fruit. Dude, we've been taking pictures of our food since the beginning of time.
Sure have.
Because food is also art.
Yes. Oh, I'm pondering into that. Well, thank you so much for enlightening me on travel poster art.
Well, certainly.
From all of us here, Purple Easel, thank you so much for tuning in.
Make sure to check out today's artists, Ranger Doug and Danny Haas, in the links below.
Join us at purpleeaselplus.com to paint with the world's largest paint and sip studio.
And if you make it to Southern California, swing by the studio. Until then, create more and create often.
Bye.